Shalom, call halal Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai by Hashem Kodash. Double honor to the elder apostles and elder bishops of GMS, including the elders that came before them that taught us his truth. Shalom and salutations to all the brothers out pushing the word of truth and in sincerity, the hopeful elect tabernacle of David. Shalom and salutations to all the Akwak listening and learning. All right, so we're quickly going to examine the Pike letter to Mazzini because something, a part of it was read and it caught my attention. And yeah, I'm going to use this. So, bear with me for a minute. I'm going to use this as the thumbnail. That devil, this witch. Doesn't he look like a witch to you? Okay. This dude looks like the epitome of the word witch or warlock, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, there's a famous thing. It's called the Albert Pike letter to Mazzini, and we're going to examine it, right? And it deals with the world wars that were set up, okay? And all of this is coming from on high because the Most High spoke of the world wars in the Bible, okay? Through his prophets, okay? So anyway, I want to deal with this real quick, all right? Just this point, okay? This, start here. We will receive, and this is what these devils, these witches are talking about between themselves after this, and we'll read this whole thing, but I want to focus on this. After these 3 world wars, right, that it mentions, it says, then everywhere the citizens, right, says, we will receive the true light through the universal manifestation of the pure doctrine of Lucifer. And here's the point. And here's the point where we're at right now. Because the pure doctrine of Lucifer right now is being shoved in your face. All right? Letting you know that this is all coming true. Meaning the prophecies are jumping off the page. And this is going back to 1871, this is proof of that. Because they say that this letter it's forged and is not real and da-da-da-da. But these things are happening. All right, it says, the universal manifestation of the pure doctrine of Lucifer brought finally, this is the important part, brought finally out in the public view. What does that mean? The pure doctrine of Lucifer brought finally out in the public view. This means that they're hiding what they've been working on, right? Through witchcraft and deception and things being done in the dark that will come to light, right? So when you walk into Target, and the first thing you see is the rainbow section. What is that? That's the pure doctrine of Lucifer being brought finally out in the public view. Things that were hidden. For example, you got pedophilia now being pushed and laws being made. You got rainbow coming out of the closet, going mainstream, laws being, protection laws being set up. All right, so brought finally out into the public view. This was what once practiced, what they call in the closet, but not anymore. What we're watching, right, is the universal manifestation of the pure doctrine of Lucifer being brought finally out in the public view. All right, with all bestiality, all of the things that they did. Adrenochrome, child sacrifice. These things been going back to ancient Babylon, which makes this Babylon the Great. All right? But I wanted to focus on this. brought finally out in the public view. We're seeing that. We're experiencing that right now. Okay? So, like it. Things that you never thought, right, would be, what's the word? Promoted, if you will. All right? Things like, for example, how do you get a record deal? How do you become rich and famous? Well, it deals with this. You have to be down with this, the pure doctrine of Lucifer. And now they're like this. Oh yeah, P Diddy did me in the butt. Now I'm a rock star. That's how it happens. Yeah, I slept with him. Yeah, and niggas, they don't even hide. They hide it not anymore. What do you got to do in order, to be down? Like Brandy saying, I want to be down. Well, what did you do? What did Ray J do? You understand? Well, that everybody knows now. Back then, when Brandy came in, everybody didn't know what it took to become Brandy. Right now, it's being brought finally out in the public view. All right, so there's a truth to what we're about to read. Let's get a couple of precepts first. Let's read, is it Isaiah? Okay, Isaiah, we'll start at 9. Okay, now watch the witchcraft jump off the page here, because again, this is clearly a witch. All right, it's almost as though they wrote this out of the Bible for these witches. Okay, start at 9. But these two things shall come to thee in a moment, in one day: the loss of children and widowhood, they shall come upon thee in their perfection, for the multitude of thy sorceries. This is why the Most High is going to do this destruction. For the multitude of thy sorceries, and for the great abundance of thine enchantments, your witchcraft. Okay? For thou hast trusted in thy wickedness. Thou hast said, none seeth me. They're doing this in the dark. Secret societies, Illuminati, all of that shit. Thy wisdom and thy knowledge, it hath perverted thee, and thou hast said in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. They are saying that they are God, right? The God that they worship is themselves. Therefore evil shall come upon thee, thou shalt not know from whence it riseth, and mischief shall fall upon thee, thou shalt not be able to put it off, and desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know. Here's the point, okay? Stand now, the Most High is clowning them and challenging them. Stand now with thine enchantments and with the multitude of thy sorceries. Listen close to this. Wherein thou hast labored from thy youth. This goes all the way back to the Tower of Babel and further. If so be thou shalt be able to profit. If so be thou mayest prevail. So he's saying, bring your plans. Okay? And let's see if your witchcraft is going to work. All right? What witchcraft? Well, let's read it. That's Albert Pike right there, the witch. He's the top Mason, right? What do they call him? In America, for that matter. Where is my phone? There. This guy's the top Masonic witch. All right? And to show you that they're planning all these wars. Mexican-American War was started. Pike joined the regiment, da-da-da-da. All of these wars are fomented. This is part of their plan, if you will. Devil got a plan, okay? Albert Pike, letter to Mazzini. Giuseppe, right, this guy. And we're going to read this quickly, right, so we could get to the pure light of Lucifer part. The Illuminati plan for 3 world wars, August 15, 1871. Okay, so going back to this, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth. Right? Labored in what? Witchcraft. Witchcraft. Okay? Satan worship, basically. Being a rebel. Being against Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shah. Wherein thou hast labored from thy. Let's get some secret plans, all right? The following is a letter that speculation claimed that Albert Pike wrote to Giuseppe Mazzini in 1871 regarding a conspiracy involving 3 world wars that were planned in an attempt to take over the world. The letter to Giuseppe Mazzini was on display in the British Museum Library in London until 1977. Why? If this was all fake and contrived, why was it in the British Museum Library until 1977? This letter has been claimed by many internet sites to reside in the British Library in London, which denies the letter exists. So there's a conspiracy right there. Giuseppe Mazzini was an Italian revolutionary leader of the mid-1800s as well as the director of the Illuminati. Albert Pike, historic Masonic figure, was a 33-degree Freemason, occultist, Grand Master, and creator of the Southern jurisdiction of the Masonic Scottish Rite Order. The following are apparently extracts from the letter showing how 3 world wars have been planned for many generations. All right. Labored in thy youth. This is that youthful labor. They call it the work, right? In the Masons' lodges and stuff. Oh, you got to do the work. Sound familiar? The First World War must be brought about in order to permit the Illuminati to overthrow the powers of the czars, Caesars, right, in Russia, and of making that country a fortress of atheistic communism. That was done. The divergences caused by the agents of the Illuminati between the British and Germanic empires will be used to foment this war. At the end of the war, communism will be built and used in order to destroy the other governments and in order to weaken the religions. That was accomplished, the First World War. All right? The Second World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences between the fascists and the political Zionists. This war must be brought about so that Nazism is destroyed and that the political Zionism be strong enough to institute a sovereign state of Israel in Palestine. That was accomplished. During the Second World War, international communism must be strong enough in order to balance Christendom, which would be then restrained and held in check until the time when we would need it for the final social cataclysm. That was accomplished. All of that was accomplished. Okay? The Third World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences caused by the agents of the Illuminati, right? The differences caused by the agents of the Illuminati between the political Zionists and the leaders of the Islamic world, right? The wild boars of the wood, the wild men, all right? The war must be conducted in such a way that Islam, right, the Muslim Arabic world, Ishmael, and political Zionism, the state of Israel, mutually destroy each other. So the war in the Valley of Yehoshaphat, right, brought about by the least of the flock, drawing them out, is between who? The Arabs are coming together right now. They're burying their differences, and they're coming together after years and years of being strategically divided and separated. Now they're coming together for what? For the war of Armageddon in the Valley of Yehoshaphat. And this is what their plan is, apparently, right? And who put this plan in their head? Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. And you can clearly see it going on right now, right? The brothers made videos. Let's see. There's a couple of videos out right now pointing directly at that. Here's one. The elder brother Mawatazak Bon God. Peace accords the nations of the dragons of Arabia, also the Carmanians, WW3 drums. We just read this. The Arabs and the Persians or the Iranians, right? What is this about? What is this war in the Middle East about? It's about this, okay? It's about Israel and Palestine, right? And then it's about the political Zionists, right? And the Arabs, right? Coming to fight a war against each other, mutually destroy each other. The Arabs and the Edomites over there calling themselves us. All right? That's what this Third World War is clearly about, right? The troops being gathered in the Valley of Yehoshaphat. And again, the brother, this is one. What is this? Attack on American soil. This is Xi Jinping, China preparing to launch. This is all World War III, but it has to come through what's going on in the Middle East. All right, going back to this letter. All right, so let's read on here. Meanwhile, the other nations, once more divided on this issue, will be constrained to fight to the point of complete physical, moral, spiritual, and economical exhaustion. All right, during World War III. Okay, we shall unleash the nihilists and the atheists, and we shall provoke a formidable social cataclysm. This is Jacob's trouble. This is civil unrest, all of the stuff that goes along with it, right? Bringing out the rainbow, bringing out changing the laws, sacrificing your children. Oh, children can learn about sex at age 3 and 5. And we can have deviant sexual teachers, right? Teach them at grade school level. Just crazy. It says, we shall unleash the nihilists and atheists, and we shall provoke a formidable social cataclysm which in all its horror will show clearly to the nations the effect of absolute atheism, origin of savagery, and of the most bloody turmoil. That means causing chaos, right? That's what this is. We shall provoke a formidable social cataclysm. We're going to create chaos and try to bring order through that chaos, right? Then everywhere, here we are, we're at the paragraph, okay? After they got it popping out here, right? We will unleash the nihilists, the atheists, and we shall provoke a formidable social cataclysm, which in all its horror will clearly show to the nations the effect of absolute without a God. See what they're saying? It's going to be on and cracking out there to the point where people are going to beg for a savior, right? In which in all its horror will clearly show to the nations the effect of absolute atheism, origin of savagery, right there they're talking about Ishmael for real, and of the most bloody turmoil, just absolute chaos. Then everywhere the citizens obliged to defend themselves against the world minority of revolutionaries will exterminate those destroyers of civilization, and the multitude disillusioned with Christianity whose deistic spirits will form or will from that moment be without compass or direction, anxious for an ideal, right? Order out of chaos, but without knowing where to render its adoration, who are you going to worship, will receive the true light through the universal manifestation of the pure doctrine of Lucifer, brought finally out in the public view. Meaning, all of this crazy shit right now that was never an option, right? After pure chaos jumps off, right? You're going to beg for a savior. You're going to beg for somebody to bring order out of that chaos. The ones that are going to be sitting there with the order is the New World Order, which consists of child sacrifice, pedophilia, rainbows, and wickedness on a level that has only been able to be hidden, right, and not brought out into the public. But that's why they're introducing it now, to let you know after the chaos, you're coming back to what? The NWO, which they've showed you. They done brought it out in the public view. All right? This manifestation will result from the general reactionary movement, which will follow the destruction of Christianity and atheism, both conquered and exterminated at the same time. So this is the great Albert Pike letter to Mazzini. All right? And I was, the spirit jumped on me when I heard this, brought finally out in the public view. Well, we see that right now. We see these demons present themselves and say, oh, this is normal. And you get with the program. Make room. We have rights. We're proud. This is the way this thing is going. And not just deviant sexual lifestyle, but this whole child sacrifice, what do they call it? Trafficking, human trafficking, and then what they do in order to make that sacrifice. Usually sacrificing deals with blood. When you sacrifice to the Most High, it deals with blood. Blood on the mercy seat and things of that nature. Okay? And then you have the right and the left. You have the good and the bad. Right? So these witches, they've been doing this behind closed doors. Spirit cooking, you name it. All right? Chrome, the A-chrome. Okay? What they want to do is make that the norm, which it is the norm for them, but not for everybody. That's what this means. Brought finally out in the public view. This guy, Mel Gibson, right? Here it is, Mel Gibson. How many blockbuster movies does Mel Gibson have? You cannot become Mel Gibson in Hollywood without being one of them. So suddenly he's going to jump up and make a movie exposing trafficking? No, this is them bringing it out in the view, in the public view. All right? They're using him to do it. Oh, Mel Gibson is going to expose, he's going to, the powers that be are going to allow him to make a movie, and they're going to allow him to put it in box offices all over the world to expose child trafficking. No. That's not what you see going on. That's what they're telling you they're doing. Okay? If Mel did one thing that they didn't want him to do, his ass would, as they say today, he'd be murdered and cloned in less than 2 days. That's how they say it. That's how they say it nowadays, right? Oh, they cloned it, right? So anyway, uh, let's get that real quick. Mel Gibson. Movie. Human. Child. CKING. See what comes up. Human trafficking. 3 weeks ago, confidential informant Mel Gibson. Look at this. Operation Underground Railroad. Okay, so this would be expunged from the internet if they didn't want you to see it. Okay, so this is Sound of Freedom. The new film exposes the dark truths of human trafficking. This is, I believe, this is the same thing. Okay, confidential informant, official trailer, Mel Gibson. Operation Underground Railroad. Okay, so you get the point. Mel Gibson, this is 9 days ago. Mel Gibson's documentary exposes shocking truths about human child trafficking. Now listen, again, Mel Gibson, right, is a movie star. In order to become that movie star, you have to, do things and be part of this whole satanic cabal. He's one of the faces. They call them actors, right? So he's done all of these things. How now is he going to come out and expose it? How do you get to come? That's like Prince. You can't be the #1 rock star of all time in the world. Michael Jackson, for example. Michael Jackson is the greatest entertainer ever on the face of the world. How did he achieve that? He didn't achieve it on his own. He achieved it through the apparatus that goes directly to Lucifer. So what did Michael have to do? Okay, so when they say, oh, Michael Jackson was dealing with little children and child trafficking and da-da-da-da-da-da, guess what? In order to become that top guy, right, you don't get to turn around and say what they're doing at the highest level. You're part of it and have been part of it since you were a child. That's the way it works, okay? Now, what are they trying to do right now? What was hidden all of that time? Bring it finally out in the public view. That's what this is. Mel Gibson ain't telling on nobody. Mel Gibson is doing what he's told. Okay? Because they want you to know about. They didn't want you to know about these things. They would keep it hidden. But what does this say that they're doing? They're bringing it finally. What does that mean? Brought finally out in the public view. That means that it's been hidden. These are things that were done in the dark. All right, and we'll end right there. Things done in the dark. Right. Let's get done in the dark. Because the Most High, at the highest level, the Most High is bringing it out. All right. Therefore, Luke 12:3, therefore, whatsoever ye have spoken in darkness shall be heard in the light, and that which ye have spoken in the ear in the closets shall be proclaimed upon the housetops. So The Most High is driving you, right? He's driving you to expose yourself, right? Let's read one up on that. Let's read two. For there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, neither hid that shall not be known. Okay? So everything's coming out now. Most High is making them believe that, oh, well, we can bring out our wickedness now, and they're going to accept it as we move into the NWO. Right? But no, what did the Most High say he was going to do? Right? He said, Isaiah 47:14, behold, they shall be as stubble. Okay, yeah, bring in your NWO, right? Behold, they shall be as stubble, the fire shall burn them, they shall not deliver themselves from the power of the flame. There shall not be a coal to warm at, nor a fire to sit before. All right. I'll read this. Thus shall they be unto thee with whom thou hast labored. You want to be down with the witches? Well, let's see. Even thy merchants from thy youth, they shall wander, every one to his quarter, none shall save thee. So Babylon, right, and the Chaldeans, if you will, right, you're all going to fall. The Chaldeans of Babylon the Great, right, the witches and the high priests of Babylon, the wise men out of Babylon, right? It ain't working. All right, so I just wanted to bring that up. This brought finally out into public view. This is, and we're vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked, right? But what do we got to do? Endure until the end. All right, so with that said, we'll go ahead and close it. We hope that hopeful elect were edified, you brothers and you sisters, with that. Shalom.